Hi there, good morning, good afternoon, good day, wherever you are. Welcome to this month's OES product update call. And hopefully, let me just share my screen, which is that one, I think. Yeah. And let's bring that up. There we go. Right. So today we've got, oh, I've just lost my screen. Oh, there we go. It's back. Today we've got, unfortunately, Girish is unable to join us, so you'll have to put up with me giving a update on where we are on the development side of things. And then we've got Ajesh and Haritha are going to take us through some of the changes that they're planning for domain services for Windows. In that with the schema extensions that we've got happening there. And then Gaurav is going to take us through some of the bits around Identity Console, which I think we're going to be shipping with 24.4, but we'll hear more of that in a moment. But before we do that, let me just go through some announcements and where we are with a few things. So first of all, we've got our big technical event coming up in November in Las Vegas. So if just be aware of that and do come and join us there if you want to. The next thing we've got is for those of you in Germany, we've got the efficiency tour kicking off. This is going to be going through, and I say Germany, I know Vienna is not Germany, but let's say DACH region. This is going to be a tour where we're doing some technical presentations, one-day tour, and I think we've got some partner things going on if you're a partner the day before. And we're going to be going through Vienna, Dusseldorf, Esslingen, is that down near Stuttgart, I think, and Berlin. So I'll post the link to register for that in the chat window once I've finished. And you've got that there. Next thing we've got is the Bangalore Developer Conference, which is a 1 week, 7-day event we're running. I know it says developer, it's not for developers, it's for you to meet our developers. So in Bangalore, we have all the iPrint developers are based there, OES developers, Filer developers, and some of the GroupWise developers, ZenWork developers are there, and many other of our development team are based there. So it's well worth going along and listening to what they've got to say, and of course ask them questions. So let me just show you the, if I got that coming up here, so the Bangalore conference. So here we've got workshops at the weekend. So these typically are 1-day workshops, technical workshops, going through things. And we also have standard sessions as well. You can see quite a lot of content that we've got coming up there that you can attend. So, oh, I missed out some slides there. Hold on a second. Why? Not quite sure why I hid those slides. So on the file and print workshops, so these typically are whole day workshops, those some are half day. We've got quite a lot around OES and UMC there. And indeed, we've got, you can see a couple of filer workshops as well around securing that. On the session front, and I don't think we're limited to this in any way, again, a whole load of sessions around OES and with Filer as well. And I think we have got some iPrint sessions as well. Oh yeah, what's new in iPrint we've got coming up there as well. So it's well worth attending. I think the charge for all 7 days is $50. You obviously just need to get yourself there and have a hotel. So that should be fairly easy, but I would strongly recommend going. It's a wonderful conference going through things. So let's just have a look at the where we are on current releases and what we've got coming along. As I said, unfortunately, Girish would normally, who's the product manager, would normally give this, but he's off and indisposed today. So what we've got, our next release, and this is going to be our long-term support release, is in 24.4. So fourth quarter release. I think we're still targeting October for that, though that may obviously change there. And as with our normal bits and pieces and every release, we're adding a bit more to UMC, or Universal Management Console, and adding some bits in there. As I mentioned, we're putting Identity Console on the OES install media as well. And if you're not sure what Identity Console is, then wait and see. We're coming up to that in a moment later on. You've got things around MFA for your CIF shares, and auditing for direct print jobs, which is something we were lacking before if you were using direct printing. In iPrint, we've got that now as well. Looking a little bit further forward to sort of January timeframe, again, more UMC changes there, but most probably the thing most people are discussing here is the upgrading the NSS 32 to 64. So being able to effectively migrate your data seamlessly to a NSS 64, which gives you a lot more storage. I think that gives you 8 exabytes per volume maximum storage there, and I had to look up what an exabyte was, but it essentially is 1,000 petabytes. If you've got that much storage on a single volume, I think you've got a problem elsewhere, but we will support it. And then going on a little bit more, the 25.2 release is going to again do some more UMC enhancements that we've got there. You've got some changes to iPrint and the architecture around iPrint for that, and some other capabilities there. And again, towards the second half of next year, we're going to be doing some changes around having iPrint as a service, having indexing NSS volumes, so your SMB searches will be quicker to find information there, and so on. I did mention, oh, by the way, when I talked about 24.4 being a long-term support release, that's going to be 3 years support with an optional 2 years. The .1, .2 and .3 releases are only 1 year support, just so you're aware on that front. I did mention that the 24.4 release is coming up soon, but we do, hopefully, everyone who we have emails for around notification will have got an email about that. But we do have a beta program going on for the 24.4 release, and you can go and get on that beta program. It's open to anyone. I'll post the link for that in the chat window, so do think about joining that. But as I said, if you've given us your email to be notified about these things, then you should already have got an email on that front. I can't get access to the questions at the moment. I don't know if any of the other panelists here, can you look at the questions? Is there anything that's come in? I'm assuming not.
Yeah, there are no questions, Robin. We can go.
Okay, that's good. Thank you very much. So I think next thing we've got is about the schema for domain services for Windows. That's going to be done by Ajesh and Haritha. Who's sharing their screen? Is that you, Haritha?
Yes, Robin.
Okay, I'll give you the presentation, right? So if I make you the presenter, you should have an option now to share your screen.
Yeah, hi Robin, sorry to interrupt. There were a few questions if you would like to take it up or someone.
Okay, well now I should be able to get questions. If you have got questions, then do post them in the Q&A section of the dashboard. I think that's on the 3 dots in your bottom right. You've got an option there for the Q&A coming out. Let me just, now that I've stopped sharing, it's a lot easier for me.
You want me to stop sharing, Robin?
Hold on. Yeah, I can see your screen there. So we've got a few questions coming in. So Rodney's asking, will UMC have MFA this time around? Hopefully you're all aware you get a free entitlement to Advanced Authentication Limited, which gives you a number of authentication methods with OES that you can use with authentication to OES. I don't believe that we will have MFA for UMC this time around. I know it's something that's been discussed in the past. However, one of the developers is going to correct me in a moment if I'm wrong. John's asking about SLES 15.4. Are we upgrading to 15.6? I don't believe we are. There's a lot of work around upgrading the back end, and when we do, that's where most of our development work goes. So I don't think in 24.4 we are. And Harold is asking, why haven't we done the 25.1 as the long-term support release? Company-wide, it's always the .4 release is the long-term support release. So you'll see that with GroupWise, with Filer, with ZenWorks. Well, I think some of the ZenWorks stuff is slightly different in that I think some of them are only 2 a year coming out rather than 4 that most other products are. So there. Okay, let's go over to you, Haritha. Sorry for stealing your thunder there a little bit, but let's hear all about domain services for Windows and the schema changes that we've got.
Yeah, thank you, Robin. Okay. Anyone can
Yep, I can see your screen there. That's fine.
You. Okay, hi everyone, I'm Haritha. Today I'm going to demo on the schema extension for DSfW server. So I will give overview about what is schema extension for DSfW. A schema of the tree can be extended by creating a new class or attribute. To extend the schema of an editor tree, user or admin requires supervisor rights to the entire tree. So there are different ways to extend the schema: creating a class, deleting a class, creating an attribute, adding an optional attribute to a class, and deleting an attribute. Currently, OS 24.3 DSW servers are using AD schema level 2019. So for more information, you can go through the link. So I'll share this PPT.
Harita, is it
I am
just
audible?
to check? Are we able to see the updated screens?
No,
Okay.
no, I was just about to ask. Harita, we are still on the welcome for first slide.
Okay.
No, maybe reshare it again. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Rajesh.
You're showing the wrong screen there.
No. So is it visible now?
Yeah. What schema extension for what is schema extension for DSfW?
Yeah. So when I go to full screen mode, I think it is not visible. So I think I'll go through like this only. So yeah. So I was explaining what is schema extension for DSfW. So right now I'm in this screen. What is schema extension for DSW? Ajesh and Kiran can confirm you are able to see this.
Yes, yes, we are able to see. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. So schema of the tree can be extended by creating a new class or an attribute. So to extend the schema of an e-directory tree, user or admin requires supervisor rights to the entire tree. So there are different ways to extend the schema: creating class, deleting a class, creating an attribute, adding an optional attribute to a class, and deleting an attribute. So currently, OS 24.3 DSW servers are using AD schema level 2019. So for more information, you can refer this link. So I'm providing the link in the PPT. Later you can go through it. So I'll explain why schema extensions are required. So schema extensions are necessary when the default schema of a system or application doesn't fully satisfy the requirements of a particular use case or application. So below are the few reasons why schema extensions are necessary. So one is handling custom data. So many systems comes with predefined schemas that cover general use cases. However, businesses or developers often have specific needs that require storing additional data or attributes that are not part of the default schema. So schema extensions allow you to add custom fields or data types. Integration with applications. So when we are integrating with the external systems, we may need to add additional fields that are not present in the default schema to store the data that is relevant for the integrations. So optimization. Sometimes extending the schema can improve performance by allowing system to store the data in a more structured and efficient manner rather than overloading existing fields with multiple purposes. So, and for regulatory and complex compliance needs. Sorry. So in some industries, compliance with regulations may require the storage of additional attributes that are not available in the default schema. And better data organization. So extending the schema can help improve the logical organization of data instead of cramping additional data into inappropriate fields. If we can create custom fields that make querying managing data easier. So that is the there we require schema extensions. Current supported ways of extending the schema. So there are three ways to extend the schema for DSW servers. One is using LAP or LAP modify to create the schema elements in the schema partition. And second one is use identity console to create schema elements in the schema partition. And other than these two, we we can use the NDSSH tool also for extending the schema. So this is the command for extending the schema. Using this command, we can run this command to extend the schema in DSW servers. So extend the schema, extend this DSW schema using Active Directory standard methods. So in future OES updates, we'll plan to provide an ability to extend DSW schema using the below AD standard methods. One is manually using LDIF tool, and the second is programmatic extension. Third is MMC. So the first two methods we have tried in DSW servers. Still this work in progress. So I will give you a small demo on this two methods and how we can use these methods and how we can create attributes classes in the default schema. Advantages of using Active Directory standard methods. So this will allow administrators to add new object classes or attributes that are not part of the default DSW schema. And leveraging the built-in methods provides a structured and a safe approach for these complex operations and seamless integration with third-party applications and systems. So I'll give you demo on the these two methods. So manually using the LDIF tool and programmatic extension. Okay, is my screen visible? So I open different window. Can anyone confirm is my screen is visible?
No, Anita. We can still see only the slides.
Okay. Yeah, thanks, Kiran. So is it visible now?
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks. So okay, this is the Microsoft provided method for extending the schema programmatically. So this is the example code for extending the schema programmatically. So what I'll just give you overview about what this program will do. So this program will create 6 new attributes and 1 new class and modifies 2 existing classes by adding a new may have attributes. So this these are 6 new attributes: course tugboat, speed tugboat, max payload tugboat, allow tugboat, consistency grid, and consistency child count. Okay, these 6 are attributes, and it will also create one new class, policy parameters tugboats, and also it will modify the container and group policy container. So when we run this program, so it will create this new 6 attributes and 1 new class, and also it will modify the existing classes container and group policy container. So I have a Windows Server 2019 which is joined to DSW domain. So there I will run this program for adding this new attributes and class, and also it will modify the container and group policy container class also. So before going to run the program, I will show the list of attributes from the ID console. So I'll search for this tug. So there are no attributes available with this. think I can show this also. Okay, right now we have 1803 schema elements, schema attributes and classes. So I will run this program from member server and we'll see. Okay, this same program I have running from my Windows server. So this is joined to DSW domain. Okay, so it's ran successfully. So we can see it's created allow tugboat, consistency, child good, sorry, consistency, child count, consistency with course tugboat, max payload tugboat, and policy parameters tugboat. This is a class speed tugboat. So we can see all these new attributes and class created. And here we can see that count increase. So earlier we have 1803 attributes and classes. Now it is 1810. So that new, like now we have added 7 new attributes and classes. So this is one method of doing the schema extension. So this Microsoft also follows this method, and other one is using the LDIF DE tool. So this is the command we have to run from the command line, like and we have to parse this LDIF file. So I will also run the same tool from my Windows server, and I will show the output. Okay, this is my LDIF tool. So I'm creating this new attribute. Okay, I'm giving all required attributes for creating this new schema attribute, schema object. So I will pause this LDIF file for that LDIF DE command. I hope my screen is visible because I'm doing it from a remote
Yes.
desktop.
Yes,
Very
yes,
good.
Harita.
Yeah,
Your
yeah.
screen is visible.
Okay, this is syntax we have to follow. So same whatever there in the Microsoft website, I'm following same this LDIF DE, and we have to pass a schema container. So in this format. So same, I'm also using the same. So I'll go to ID console. Now I'll verify whether attribute is created or not. So new attribute is created. So I'll do the same for class also. So I'm going to create the class, new schema class. So I'm verifying it from ID console. So no new schema class also created. So now I will delete this. So now I have that LD file ready for deleting also. So this is the way of way to delete the attribute or class. So I will pass the same LD file for deletion. Sorry, I'm passing the LD file name wrong. So that is why it is giving unable to read the import file. So you can see this command completed successfully. So I'll go to ID console and we will see whether this has been removed or not. I think it is removed successfully. For confirmation, I can go to objects browser and I'll verify it. So now 1811. So I'll do the same for class also. I'll remove the class. Class removed successfully. So yeah, now schema like reduces this element like attributes after deleting that new class. So now only 1810 attributes and classes available. So this is still work in progress. So if anyone using this three methods, or if you are using any other methods, can you please update it in the chat so that along with this work we can also accommodate that as well. So I think yeah, that's all from my end. So any questions, please share it in a chat so that we can take it.
Sure, I just want to pitch in here. Thanks a lot for the presentation and the demo, Harita. So I think that clearly explains the how to update the schema with the new attributes in the class. So that was really extensive and clear on that part. So hello everyone. This presentation, the main agenda of the presentation is to seek some initial feedback from you guys and from the customers who are having a need to extend the schemas. So as Harita has indicated, this feature is in progress and we want to get some feedback from you guys on what could be your real-time use cases with respect to how a schema would be extended, would have extended earlier, and if there is any specific needs with respect to schema extension with any particular attribute or class, please do let us know in this chat, or you can directly reach out to any of us from the panel with the questions of what do you exactly need from for your customers or the environment. We would definitely want to get that feedback and try to work on that and see that can be delivered in the upcoming releases. So, and along with that, we would also like to know what kind of third-party applications will be used for the schema extensions. So we have very limited scope right now, and that we are not very sure on what kind of applications will be requiring these kind of schema extensions. But we are come up with some work which is already done, as showed by Harita, on how to extend these schemas. But that it would be really great if we get some information from you guys on what kind of use cases are in the real world customer scenarios, and what kind of attributes or application they would be using to extend the schemas using the classes or attributes. So anything from what Harita has presented, or anything out of that and something which we are not yet considered, please do let us know in any kind of form, where it can be via email or in the chat here itself. Please do give your feedback and some suggestions or anything of that which you are expecting from the engineering. We would be very much happy to take them in.
You've got my email address if you want to send me an email, and I'll pass that on to the engineering team. At the moment, there's not much there. The Wolfgang is asking what's happening with domain services for Windows AD's web services support. I don't know if
Yes, you want to answer?
Yeah. Can anyone take that one?
Yeah, Robin, I think the question is around Azure AD Connect. I think that's where there's a long pending request from the customers on integration with Azure AD Connect. That's still work in progress. We are still working out, but there are some technical challenges around that area, and we are working with the Microsoft team also to see if we can get solutions. And in addition, we are also exploring some open source free tools that can be an alternative for Azure AD Connect. So that's also a work in progress. So once we have some significant breakthrough there, we will definitely like to showcase it as part of our customer webinars. Thanks, Robin.
Okay, great. Any other questions around DSfW? If so, post now, or otherwise we'll go over to Gaurav, who's going to take us through some of the changes we've got, I think, in 24.4 with the inclusion of Identity Console in the OES media. Let me make you the presenter. There we go. You should have an option now, Gaurav, to share your screen. Great. We can see Firefox page up there. A private window, although we can't hear you.
Robin, now you can hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Yeah, thank you, Robin. Hello, everyone. Today, we will be talking about inclusion of Identity Console in OES 24.4. So moving forward, my screen is visible, Robin?
Yes.
Okay.
And see
So,
the slides.
Yeah, thank you. So what we will be talking about is what was the need for IC in OES, then how we are configuring IC. We are bundling Identity Console 1.8 with OES 24.4, then upgrades, then some useful command, then troubleshooting of IC, and specifically we will talk about one error which we will encounter in IC. That is there in troubleshooting. I will explain a little bit more about that. and few log locations, which will help us to debug and troubleshoot identity console. So as we know, the time manager is getting deprecated. We need tools to manage e-directory servers and e-directory services. So there we can utilize identity console, and for managing OES services, we can utilize UMC, which will be in a single place to manage both OES and e-directory servers. When we included IC into the OES, it will avoid the overhead of searching versions and installing IC on OES. We have to search which e-directory version is there in our OES and which e-directory version will be supported with that IC. All those things overhead will be removed, and we will be bundling the suitable IC version with every OES release. And it will be easier to track which IC version is there with the OES release. So how we are configuring identity console is IC 1.8 will be configured as part of our UMC configuration. So there will be no separate pattern for identity console. Identity console package automatically will get selected when we select the UMC pattern, and it will be installed as we install UMC pattern. Other than that, we have gone ahead and chosen a Docker container deployment way of IC. And with this, there will be no separate Docker container for EDAR API. Till now, we were using eDirectory REST API in form of Docker running on our OES services. Now we will bundle only IC, and we will be using the eDirectory REST API provided by the identity console. So to configure IC, we read all the required settings from our OES server, and we will be reading the eDirectory API port, which we asked during UMC configuration. Default is 9010 for OES, but we have the option to modify it and change it. To access the identity console, links will be provided from UMC. In the sidebar, we will have a link. When we click, it will redirect us to identity console. And always we can go ahead and access the IC directly by mentioning the server IP colon the EDAR API port / identity console. So we will talk about upgrades. What will happen existing OES servers with IC? So what we are recommending is to uninstall the identity console before upgrading our OES media, before upgrading our OES servers, which will help us to utilize the IC, which is bundled with OES. We will not, by following uninstallation identity console guide, we have all the three ways which will help us to uninstall our existing Docker. If it is a Docker or standalone, we can use the steps to uninstall. So what we can face issues during upgrade is, let's say we are upgrading our OES server with a standalone IC installed. The upgrade is ports are getting used, like same ports are getting used during in UMC and IC. Then the IC which will get deployed by OES will face issues, and error will be seen during accessing it. So what will happen if we have OES servers with IC? So we can upgrade, we will have two instances of IC running if both of them are using separate ports. So by default, IC recommend identity console is using 9000 and UMC is using 9010. So what will happen is there will be two instances of IC running on the system after the upgrade. If UMC is not configured during the upgrade, means IC will not be deployed on that OES server, as we know that IC will be part of UMC configuration. And then what about future upgrades? OES upgrade will take care of upgrading the identity console installed by OES, and all the latest and compatible IC version will be deployed during upgrades. So there are a few useful commands like we have a IC service which we have written. The IC service is just to utilize the system CTL to bring up the container and deploy it on the OES services. It will read all the necessary settings and configuration from our OES machine. So we can use the docker-IC service. Then we have few Docker command. We can run docker ps-a to check whether the Docker is healthy or not, or running or not. Then we can use Docker start, stop, and restart our container. For troubleshooting, we have modified our health script. Now health script will be checking for the Docker container instead of either IC Docker container instead of EDAR API. If it is down, it will let us know that the state is not healthy and it is not running. And as I said, that Docker IC.service, this we utilize to deploy the identity console. So when we restart Docker IC.service, it will remove the running instance and it will deploy it again. So what it will do, it will reset all the IC configuration to default settings. So if we have modified, let's say we have modified the EDAR API conf file, that will be reset to the default setting, and whatever manual changes we have done will get lost. So the suggestion is to use Docker restart command if we want to restart our Docker container. And something has happened to your container and it is not working properly, we can always go ahead and do systemctl restart docker ic.service. We have Identity Console troubleshooting guide. This is published by Identity Console team itself. I have added the link in the slides, you can access it. So one of the error which we can see during login is when we give all the details in ICA, and it will say that login failure, invalid credential. So, and if we access the audit logs, it will say that LDAP result code 49 invalid credentials. Host name is not valid. It will say like that. So this means that directory IP address associated with that identity console, or the entered eDirectory IP address or the host name may not be present into the EDAR API conf file. So we need to add whichever server we want to access with IC. So that IP, we need to add it in the EDAR API conf file. From OES side, we are adding the server on which the IC is getting installed and all the UMC instance which will be available in the tree. Those IPs we are going ahead and adding it in EDAR API conf file. I will show it in demo. So to resolve that issue, what we have to do is we have to modify the EDAR API conf file, and there is an entry called EDAR-host. We have to add the IP address :636 the LDAP port in that to make it work. There are two ways. We can directly go ahead into the volume which is mounted and modify the EDAR API conf file and restart the Docker, or we can use the Docker copy command and copy the EDAR API conf file from the deployed container to on the host server and modify and copy it back, and then restart the identity console OES Docker. So we have given the name of our Docker as identity console -OES, just to make it sure that it's a OES instance which is running. There are few log location which will help us to troubleshoot. So first one is the audit log, which will log all the operations which we are doing through identity console through EDAR API. Then we have the container startups log. It basically logs when we start the container, restart the container, it will log all the details. And we have Y2 logs. So YAST will be executed for configuring UMC. So if any error occurs during configuration of UMC, it means that IC might not work properly, and we can go ahead and always check Y2 logs, what has happened there and what we can do to resolve. These are few documentation link, release note, identity console admin guide, and identity console troubleshooting guide. These are mentioned in the slides. Now I will have a quick demo related to IC, how we are deploying it in OES. So this is a server where, which first we can say that. So we can see that this Docker IC service does nothing, but it will run bunch of commands to configure the identity console on the OES. Once it is configured, it will exit it. And if it has encountered error while deploying, it will display it here. So we can debug and check what has happened here. We can check the running instance. So we have the docker ps-a command, which will help us to see. So my identity console was created 49 minutes ago. It's running up and healthy. If it is not running, then it won't show us healthy. And we can always use the docker stop and restart command to play around with the identity console. We have given identity console -OES to this instance name. As you can see, it's saying that exited 5 seconds ago. So we'll restart again. So the status is showing health starting. It will take 30 seconds to start up. Once it is healthy, it will say that now it is healthy and ready to use. So I will show you the either API conf file, which is getting generated as part of our identity console configuration. So I will show it directly going into the mounted volume. As you can see, it is listening to port 9010, and we have added either host, which is whitelisted, means these IPs. If we log in with these IPs, we will not see any issue. We can identify it. So here in this E directory, I have 3 OES servers, 119.60, 117, 110, and 117.108. So my Docker is IC and UMC is deployed on 117, 110. So I will access IC here. So if I use 110, we will not see any issue, because this is already added in either host in the either API conf file. Now we have logged into IC, and we can play around with the E directory services it provides, like searching object, user management, group management, rights management, tree view, certificate management. I will log out and I will show the error scenario. So this is one of the server present in the tree, and I have not added, this is not added into the either API conf file. So if I try to log in, it says login failure, invalid credential. If I go to audit logs, I go to last. Sorry, yeah, either API logs. It says that invalid credential, hostname not valid. LDAP result code 49. So this means that we have to modify the EDER API conf file. I will go ahead and I will modify it. We can use any way to identify, edit the conf file. Either we can do directly go into the container and modify the file and restart the Docker, or we can go into the volumes and modify the EDER API conf file. So it's still starting. It will take 30 seconds. So when we do install and configure our OES, at that time we don't have to wait because the configuration will take time for OES, and till then identity console will be up and healthy. It's healthy. I will quick login. Okay, I will log in with 117.108 again. So now I'm able to log in. So this is one of the error scenarios which we can encounter to manage that specific server in a tree where that identity console is deployed. This is mentioned in their identity console troubleshooting guide. That's it from my side. If you have any question.
Yeah,
Yes.
Garo, there was a question, contextless login in IC is supported or not?
It is supported. We have not enabled it. We can follow the identity console documentation. They have added it, how to enable it for Docker. We can follow the steps to enable it.
And if you already have an OES EDER API containers, will that be
Yes.
replaced with the new one as part
Yes.
of the IC?
Yes, the older EDER API containers will get removed, and we will deploy identity console containers.
I think these are the two questions which I have seen. Rest of the things I have added.
I think that's just a couple that have come in around this. And believe it or not, we're only a few seconds before the scheduled end time. So you managed to finish bang on time. So congratulations there.
Thank you, Robin.
Robin, just 1 second. I would like to take this. This inclusion of identity console into OES configuration is the feedback which we have received in the earlier TTPs or webinars and other places wherever we have interacted with you people, customers, consultants, and partners. So we thought that this inclusion should help us to administer OES much effectively in the ecosystem. So that is one of the chief reasons that we are including identity console along with the bundling along with the UMC. So if UMC is configured, IC will be there on that server. So this is the reason we have brought it up, and hope you try out in the beta, join the beta program, and you try out these things and see how it works and share your feedback to us, so that if there are any improvements needed, yeah, definitely we would like to hear. Yeah, over to you, Robin. Thank you.
Okay, yeah. So if you want to send an email in with your comments, then you have my email address, and do send that to me, and I'll pass that on to the team in so that they can look at your ideas and take those into account. Anyway, as I said, we're more or less bang on time. So thank you very much to everyone who was presenting today. Very interesting conversations going on there. Hopefully it's given you something to think about and see where we're heading with some of the bits and pieces in the future with OES. And thank you very much indeed, and hopefully we'll see you next month on the next OES product update call. Goodbye.